So good morning, everyone, and thanks for accepting me, I would say, on OW2 with such a nice introduction. So this morning, I want to share a slightly different perspective and hopefully give you some perspective of what we are doing at Microsoft around the open source world. And even more hopefully, slightly maybe change your perception around what Microsoft does. And talking about perception, if you are wearing a Microsoft hat and you've seen the news for last week or so, there is a lot of things going on. It's been the Open Source Week in Paris. If you talk about the Open World Forum, if you talk about OpenStack Summit, you can even pick up some news that some of you might have seen about Microsoft and our CEO saying, I love Linux. So with that, and also I love this picture, this illustration that was taken at OpenStack Summit around this monolithic. And it is important to make sure that we listen to what happens on the market and don't become this big thing in the middle of the room. So once again, stepping back and taking a slight perspective, we are seeing a world that is changing in terms of information. Was told just the talk before, and where the relationship with the information is really moving from, I would say, a multi-interest to a personal interest. It's also moving from a multi-device to a personal device. If I take the pictures, like a couple of years ago, we would have all those devices around us, where now we have that one that is doing exactly the same things. So that is giving some changes. And on the other hand, it's more and more a connected world. Once again, internet, the cloud. Once again, another example this morning to come here, I was pretty happy to be connected and be part of this relationship that is around Waze to give me the fastest track to come here, because it was really a nightmare. So this is the things that we are seeing, and it gets to some kind of paradox where you have a lot of information, and everyone, every users, yourself, your customers, your employees are willing to have a one-on-one relationship with those data, while we do have so many datas. So if I pick up an example on the industry, these changes happen in the travel agency, for example, business. It started from, you all might be going to a travel agency. Now we are buying tickets on the web, and more we are seeing collaborative, connected communities where I want to buy my ticket, get the feedbacks around the travel I'm trying to book, and really have a personalized relationship with information. So world is changing. I mentioned it before, and with this change of the world, your customers, your partners, your employees need to change, whereas the technology is moving so fast. Changes, innovation is happening every day. So adapt is clearly the rule, and it is clearly not business as usual anymore. So what does it come from to what does it take for a company like Microsoft to face these changes? And it is a good timing to kind of think back and make sure that we are standing on our core value prop around her. And that's what I wanted to share with you in terms of helping seeing how we transform and how we adapt to this world. So the core clearly mission, the way to read Microsoft, is this core sentence that you see in the center. It is bringing productivity and platform to a connected world where obviously you heard it, mobile first and cloud first world. So the core and the way you can read Microsoft is building productivity and platform around that. And clearly platform, it needs to be multi-platform. It cannot stand only on Windows. Phone, obviously, Windows exists, but it's not the biggest. So that's where and how you can read through the announcements that you might have seen from time to time in terms of us offering some SDK, open source by the way, on iOS and Android, because we want to enable the best productivity and the best platforms on this transformation. So flexibility is also clearly another point that is important with these changes going on. There's the cloud, but everyone doesn't want to go to the cloud like in a second, or cannot, or doesn't have the budget, or doesn't have the skills. So bringing the flexibility is clearly key to enable those changes. Openness, obvious. You might argue that we innovate or we don't innovate. The best thing and place to be if we want to build productivity and platform is make sure that we enable the existing platforms, the existing skills, the existing assets within the companies to make them, to offer a quick and easy way to change. Trust, obviously there is got to be a interesting talk afterwards, and this is a theme from the OW2 discussion and thoughts around security. This cannot be done if there is no trust. At some stage, I'm pretty happy and fine with this phone knowing where I am in the traffic. At other part of my life, I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing. So that's once again, and I skipped a couple of things, but OS and screens are clearly key. Our approach towards that, and obviously there's a couple of, on the left-hand side, a couple of topics there that I want to cover, or either cover them quickly, is this mix between consumer and enterprise. In this change, we need to make sure that consumer have their take out of this change, and they are clearly expressing their needs there. And enterprise clearly are offering those services, so we need to make sure that we both cover and offer the right value prop there. What I wanted to kind of focus on is on the right-hand side. This also implies changes in companies. It applies changes in Microsoft. It applies changes in your companies, whether you be customers, partners. It starts with what I call the field, sales reps. Even though we are still selling in the business of selling software, it's about changing from licenses to services. This is a pretty hard and pretty profound change there. It also continues with development. You're probably facing those practices, and there are best practices from all around the technology market, which translates into DevOps in terms of continuous integration, in terms of continuous deployments. If you take, for example, Bing today, it is a daily build rolled out to the market. So you really need, and you really need, really need, and you really need in your offerings to make sure that we are clearly able to deliver those services, and there's no more like a year or 3 years upgrade. It's a daily upgrade that people need with the trust, the security, the stability, and the agility behind it in the companies. So those are really changes that are clearly getting deeply into the organizations, and obviously we need to make sure that we are able to do that. There was some mention before about cloud and Internet of Things. If you talk about data, cloud, devices, it's also about what we call the Internet of, well, what the industry calls the Internet of Things. So what are your things behind that? It is data, it is devices, it is the way you handle those data to make good use of it. It's also, it's all about sharing, with whether it be social or the mix between what we want to have public or private. So all those things need to be taken care of, and there's a huge market, or not market, field of innovation behind that in terms of technology, innovation, and that's where clearly the discussions with people like OW2con'14 happens. things are also different in terms of technology. I was mentioning the usage, the things. Technology, clearly, innovation happens everywhere. So if you bear with me in terms of us building productivity and platforms, we are not stealing, killing, or whatever the open source world. We need to collaborate to make sure that we do mix the best of both worlds. So whether pick up your own technology there. And that's, by the way, the technology that are supported by our cloud in Azure. So what we are trying to deliver here is the best platform, productivity tools, so that people are able to build those new applications. And clearly, we need to run fast, be agile, because this world is innovating every day. So we are working there, collaborating, sometimes contributing, if you pick up like Linux, PHP, or taking clearly a stand there to make sure that we do innovate together. So it's a world of together. It's not a black and white world anymore. It's a world of mixed technology. And clearly we need to take our stand as well in terms of innovation there. So this might not be the things that are the mostly seen, but as part of, for example, our partnership with INRIA in France, you could pick up, and those work are not related to every offering I'm describing there, but it's part of what we do in R&D, and I love the image that was taken once again in the OpenStack Summit about internal R&D and external R&D. So we do have internal R&D as a software company, and we also make sure that we collaborate with the external R&D that is delivered by the community. So I picked up 3 examples there about how we can enable those platforms in terms of productivity. Simplify life with, like, for example, Skype, cloud-based service, by the way. That is today offering live translation when you do have a conversation. So we are reaching a point where I am able to talk with anyone on well, English spoken first, with anyone on the rest of the world live and have live translation provided to me. Outlook, but Delve. If you want to look at some information, some offer, Delve. It's all about bringing the information inside the company in terms of when I do productivity work, making sure that on the top of my desktop I do have the latest presentation that were, I don't know, held in my company on my right hand, by the way, to make sure that I am able to gather all those information, because on the internet it might be huge. And looking at the future, it's also about things like machine learning. So if I want to have those ocean of data provided to me the right way, and also kind of anticipating what I could do with those data, machine learning is key. So that's one of the benefits from the cloud, obviously, whether it be private and obviously public cloud, because it's a lot of compute. But those are areas of innovation that should help us deal with those data. That said, and kind of to conclude my talk, it is also a matter, and that's also a stand that we're taking, of responsible innovation. So we are providing platform. We're not in the data business, for example. And to provide those platform and to make sure that everyone is able to innovate on it. And the cloud, trust is clearly the key. And this has been kind of shuffled a little bit for the last couple of months or years. So be sure that we always will be taking a stand in terms of enabling and building trust. You might not know, but we are today in a claim against the US government to make sure that we are able to keep data for the customers, from the customers, and resisting in terms of providing those data to the government. With that said, open, I mentioned, and clearly trust, and that's probably the next topic. Thank you.